I'm just gonna talk to you guys. So I'm not gonna, there's no slides. People who have been around me who know how I do things. Sometimes I'd go real all natural like this, and then other times it's slide, it's like death by PowerPoint. And some people in here have been in 3 hour PowerPoint presentations by me. So. So hey everyone, I'm Michael Manatskanian, and I'm a real estate investor. I'm a capital raiser, and I'm also a lender. I currently own over 50 rentals worth right around $20 million. People want a specific number sometimes, but it's hard because the property values change, but it's right around $20 million. And after the first $1.5 million of real estate that I purchased, all of my real estate that I've purchased in the last 2.5 years have all been leveraging other people's money. And I'll dive into that between private money lenders and private money partners, as well as sometimes I have lenders that fund for the short term or like gap funding, or, they're more shorter term funding. And then I can refinance them out through another loan. As I mentioned, I'm also a lender. I currently lend out maybe $250,000 I have currently deployed, a little bit more available to deploy, but that's how much I have lent out. People always ask, like, why don't I just use my own money if I have that much money to do? But my thought process has always been, I will leverage other people's money to buy real estate, because that means if there's a great investment opportunity in front of me, I will be able to, I will always be able to purchase that, right? As long as the deal makes sense, I know I could find a capital partner who will want to be part of that deal. And so I never wanted my own money to be a bottleneck for my ability to buy great investments. But then I lend all my money out, because the idea is if all my money is lent out, I got to do something with it, right? Put it in stocks, and put it in gold, Bitcoin, keep it in cash, high yield savings account. Or what I choose to do is lend my money out to other real estate investors to help them accomplish the same end goal. And I get really solid returns, and I have much more control of that compared to if I was just doing, if I was just using my own money. In my opinion, there's like a couple fundamental pillars if you're trying to generate wealth through real estate and be financially free through real estate. And this is just my opinion, right? I think the number one skill set everyone should know, doesn't mean you're going to have to do this forever in your business, but the number one skill set you should know is how to master deal analysis. You should know for the type of investments that you're looking to buy. You should understand all the different ways to acquire those deals. You should understand how you can analyze an investment property fairly quickly to filter those out, because 95% of properties out there are not necessarily great investments. Your job is to filter those ones out, or even maybe renegotiate them to make them better. But you won't be able to do that unless you understand if it's a good investment or not. And then, and that's whether you're a buyer, a lender, if you're connecting capital or raising capital for someone else's investments. I hope in my heart of hearts that you are doing your due diligence and analyzing these investments first before trying to connect it to someone else, to make sure that the deal is viable and the operator is someone that is deserving of, or like has the experience to utilize someone else's money, because you never know how long it took that person to save that money. You really don't want to just like destroy their entire path of financial freedom by dissuading them and making them think this is a scam, because you connect them to the wrong person and they lose all that money. That's like a huge thing, whether you're a buyer, lender, capital raiser, connector. I think understanding and mastering deal analysis is the most fundamental thing you can do. Like we all know, Pace is not sitting there underwriting his deals anymore. But if you were to ask him anything about deal analysis, the different ways to acquire deals, the different ways to manage investment properties, and the different returns you can expect, and different how to get yourself out of different situations, and as he says, finding the bunnies, or really negotiating on the important things, and not focusing on like the nitty, like the unnecessary details. Having that skill set, having those tools in your tool belt are going to make you a much better real estate investor. Doesn't mean you need to be successful in real estate. You can stumble into any investment and have it work for you, but it's a lot better if you are minimizing your risk by analyzing investments and understanding, exactly what you're doing. It doesn't always pan out that way, right? Analysis is great up until the point of closing, but then after closing, anything can happen. There might be mold in the walls that you didn't account for, but you're minimizing your risk by analyzing these investments and being really thorough and being genuine with your numbers. Because if you're lying about your numbers and you're comping rental income much higher than it actually is, or whatever, you're just doing a disservice to yourself and to the investors that you're partnering with. So I think one of the fundamental pillars is mastering deal analysis. Then I think a really important one is systematizing your business into very repeatable actions. And I'll talk about really the only two inputs in our business and how we've been able to systemize that into just repeatable steps. You just do this over and over again, essentially a blueprint. This is the process that you follow over and over again to be able to buy real estate, raise money to do so. And then more important than just the blueprint, there's a lot of people who do have the step by step, but then they don't actually do the actions, the consistent actions that are involved. I've only been investing in real estate. Well, I started learning about real estate investing in 2018, bought my first investment in 2020, but I've been extremely consistent since 2018 to today. People sometimes think, oh man, look, it must be nice that you're able to buy all this real estate and you could leverage other people's money and all that. But like, it was the consistency of learning and taking action over the last 6 years, which has allowed me to be financially free. Before I turned 30, I mean, it's an amazing accomplishment, but it was just because of the fact that I mastered deal analysis before anything else. I understood my business. I'm a chemical engineer by trade and engineer by trade. So like understanding systems, processes, inputs, what does I need to input? What is the process that I need to do? And then what are the outputs, right? And then reverse engineering a lot of that has been fundamental. And then, yeah, consistently taking those actions. A blueprint is great, but unless someone's building or taking action, it's just a blueprint. It's a schematic. It does nothing for you unless you're actually taking those actions. And then I think another one that has been fundamental, especially to my success now, has been community and network. So I didn't buy my first out-of-state investment until I joined the Subto community. I wholesaled out of state because it was a lot less risk, because I was just talking to buyers, understanding what types of deals do they want to buy, and then helping structure those deals with sellers. And I knew there was someone that wanted to buy it, but I was not comfortable locking up those deals to then be the buyer, to do an out-of-state fix and flip, to do an out-of-state buy and hold, to raise money for a property that I've never seen or walked, until I joined a community of thousands of like-minded individuals and investors where I knew that if I really needed something, I know that I got friends in Chattanooga, in Charleston, in like Maricopa County, and it doesn't really matter anywhere. I know that I have a community of people that I can reach out to and connect with, and either pay them to help me, to exchange value to each other. A lot of people in these communities, in this community in particular, we all look out for each other and we really try to help each other out. Does it mean that I expect anyone to do anything for free for me or on a whim? Never. And I think that really adds a lot, is if you're connecting and networking with the goal of just helping each other out, it makes it a lot easier. Being a giver, not a taker, makes it so much easier anytime I ever need something. And I have actually never needed to tap into the community in that sense. Like, oh man, I have a tenant who is destroying my property. Can you go check it out, whatever. I haven't had to deal with anything like that, thankfully. And that's screening tenants. That's a huge one. But yeah, that's like a big one. Once I felt comfortable that I knew I had people that I can tap into in other markets all over the country, I felt much more comfortable. That doesn't mean I'm buying properties in, 10,000 population towns or whatever. I'm still buying in major primary markets, secondary markets, 30,000+ people population. So there's lots of services, property management, contractors, handymen, whatever. But knowing that I also had investors in that market, even though I've never met them in person, I know that I can tap into them and they can tap into me if they ever need anything. That has been huge into why I'm able to buy in, like currently in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, Arizona, Montana, California, Washington, Alaska. That's where I started. Plenty of markets, and I'm open to dozens more. And even Puerto Rico, we own a 7-unit in Puerto Rico. And I had multiple people that are either live in Puerto Rico, invest in Puerto Rico, no investors in Puerto Rico, no capital partners in Puerto Rico. Tapping into that made me so much more comfortable buying that investment than I would have ever been able to if I did not connect and really engage with people and have that like network. So in my opinion, the fundamental pillars for financial freedom and wealth of real estate are mastering deal analysis, systematizing your business into repeatable steps, and then taking those steps consistently. And then having that community and network like we all have, right? We already have, in my opinion, one of the hardest parts, which is finding that network and community of people that are actually trying to do the thing, not discouraging you, not saying, oh, it's not possible. I've had a ton of that. Being in the military, my family, I was supposed to be a doctor, first generation American, doctor is the typical path. So there's a lot of negativity in investing. And now it's like, well, thanks for the support over the years, but whatever. Now it's, I just had to find the right room of the right people, whether it was physically in person or virtually online. I've been able to make phenomenal friendships and relationships with people to be able to take my business to the next level and help so many other people do the same. And so another really important part about the way I have thought about real estate investing is that I've always thought about it as financial freedom is the goal. Real estate for me is just another asset. If stocks would have allowed me to get here as quickly or at the scale that I've been able to, I would have just done that because it's passive. It's just an asset that accomplishes the end goal, which is financial freedom. More money coming in every month than I'm spending. So then I can spend my time doing whatever I want, whether that means still working or whatever, doing Zooms like this. The goal is to be able to do what I want, when I want, where I want, with whoever I want, whatever, all those W's, right? That's the goal. And that's always been the goal for me. So I never really, I've done all of it. I've fixed and flipped, I've wholesaled, I've done all that. And I'll talk about kind of how that was beneficial, but also a detriment. I've done all that, but I knew those were active income sources. They're no different than me actively lending, me working, fix and flipping, whatever. All those are active. My goal was passive income, or at least semi-passive income, which has always been buying and holding real estate, especially with like management in place and contractors doing the work and all that. In the beginning, I did do a lot of the work myself. I used my own funds. I did a lot of the renovations. I found my own deals. I was managing my properties, and it like killed me. It was exhausting. I said, what the heck am I even, what's even the point of all this? I'm going to start outsourcing all that stuff. And my life got a lot more enjoyable, especially now with a newborn. I really don't want to deal with that. And I haven't over the last 2-ish years done any of those types of roles. And like I said, I've done it all, right? I thought I am making money in the military, not a lot. I'm house hacking small multifamily, working my way towards financial freedom, which is great. But I'm going to start wholesaling for active income. I'm going to start fixing and flipping for active income. And I'm going to earn money from my job. So then I have money to invest in real estate. And then I realized, wait a minute, there's a much more simple process. If all I need is, if there's like 3 parts to a deal, which is are like an investment, there's the deal, there's the capital to buy the deal, and then the operations to actually make sure everything is functioning the way that it should. There was a much simpler way to get the capital. It did not have to be my capital. I did not have to wholesale 10 deals and then be able to fix and flip and make 50K there to pay the entry for the next deal. I just said, wait a minute, I can invest other people's money, give them solid returns or even ownership into my investments together. Now we're owners together, and then own these investments. Sure, am I splitting cash flow with them? Am I splitting ownership benefits? We're both getting debt pay down and tax benefits and appreciation. We're splitting that. Sure. I don't care. I want us all to be financially free. This is not a zero-sum game. Every one thing you get does not take away from me. I guess in that scenario, it does. But if you have a limited mindset, you're thinking, oh man, that $500 that we're splitting or $1,000 we're splitting, that's $500 more for me. I'm thinking of it as that's an extra $500 that I'm able to get a month. And that is infinite returns for me because I'm using none of my own money. I'm using my own time and my own systems and all that stuff, but I'm not using my own money, which means I can buy more and more of these things. So yeah, let's get into my current buy and hold business. Really, my buy and hold business is very simple. I buy and hold real estate and I use other people's money. And as an engineer, nothing crazy here. There's 2 inputs to my business. I have investment opportunities and I have capital partners, right? People who come in as lenders and partners, and then I need investment opportunities. And so with that being said, I think the foundational piece, depending on where you're at in your investment journey, is first and foremost defining your buy box and understanding that it can change. Mine has changed. For example, I started off only buying small multifamily in my local market in Fairbanks, Alaska. And then I expanded to also doing off-market deals and trying to structure seller financing deals. And I was looking for specific returns there and low entry at that point. It can adapt over time, but understanding what your buy box is, even if it's very loose. For me, it's very loose. It depends on the management strategy, but I need my long-term rentals to be cash flow positive in like 30 plus states. Like 30 plus states I want to buy in. Just needs to be a primary or secondary market, high enough population. I try to skew more towards more like landlord friendly states, but it's a little disingenuous because I also own millions in San Diego, California, which is, not landlord friendly by any means, but I get a lot of ownership and wealth benefits through there. But just understanding what your buy box is and what your goals are. And for me, financial freedom comes through those it only comes through those heavy cash flowing properties. And then now where I'm at currently, I still love cash flow. I need to generate cash flow, but I'm also looking at a lot of the ownership benefits of real estate. I love not having to pay any taxes legally by owning real estate. I love that my tenants are paying over $10,000 a month. Well, way more than that a month in debt. One of my properties is like half that, $10,000 a month in debt pay down every single month. They're adding to my net worth every month. Maybe not every single month is the property appreciating, But looking back historically, a 5% appreciation rate is pretty safe or pretty consistent, pretty much the average since like the 50s. Yes, we had a lot of recent appreciation. Yes, certain properties might be overpriced, but if you're buying, focus on cash flow and cash on cash return, solid. And then you get all these other benefits, which help you on generating massive wealth. But the financial freedom is going to come from the cash flow generated from that portfolio. All right. So, and then defining your buy box. Like I said, I just need cash flowing properties that after having a private money lender or a private money partner, they're still cash flowing. That's the number one goal. And they need to be worthwhile. I see a lot of people that say, I need a property that is in these two markets, and that's fine. You can be very market specific and dominate that market, but it's like, I need it in this specific market. I need a less than 10% entry. I need a cash on cash return of 15+%. I need this, I need that. And mine is very different. I say, send me all your deals. I will quickly filter them myself, or even a VA can help quickly filter some of the really outrageous things. And then I do my deep analysis, say, okay, I understand that, because every time a deal comes my way, there's multiple options that I can do on that investment. I can decide to buy it. Someone sends me a deal, it's 20% cash on cash return, let's say 15%, 10% cash on cash return, whatever. It's something I want to buy and I can raise the capital for it, then I will just buy that deal. But then a lot of people, when they have these ridiculous buy boxes, no offense if you do, but if you have a too tight of a buy box, you're allowing someone else to filter the investment opportunities that you're seeing. Sure, is it a waste of time to look at properties that are outside of your buy box? Sure, but you're putting one of the most important parts of your business on the shoulders of a wholesaler or someone else bringing you those deals. It may not make it. Why would you put one of the two most important parts of your business on someone else's shoulders? That should be within your business. You need to have total control of the deals that you're analyzing and how you're analyzing them, and the capital piece. And we'll get into that. So every time a deal comes in, you can buy it. In my opinion, what we do very often is we renegotiate those deals. So maybe I see a deal that wasn't as good as advertised because it's not in the wholesaler's best incentive to like overly analyze your deals to the extent that you might, but maybe they're also not as solid as you are on deal analysis. And they were able to craft a deal with someone or an investment opportunity with someone that, like, the way I think of deals from wholesalers, honestly, is I think them as like leads. Like in a wholesale business, I just think of deals from wholesalers are just leads to me. And it's my job to buy that, or more importantly, what we do is renegotiate them. So those leads, these are hot leads in my opinion. They may not be great investments, but I do know the seller is motivated. So I will look at that and I will say, is there an ability to renegotiate this deal to then make it fit within my buy box or not? So they're doing the hardest part, in my opinion, which is talking with the hundreds of sellers, the hundreds of agents, to then get a few that are motivated and then present them to me. And then I determine, okay, can I make this an even better deal based on my ability to analyze deals and underwrite maybe more effectively than them. And so that's a huge part of what we do, is we renegotiate deals together with the wholesaler, still paying them, and just saying, hey, I see the seller really is willing to sell this deal. Maybe it's a sub-2 deal and they're motivated because of whatever reasons, if you create a finance space, they're motivated for a variety of reasons. And there's an ability to renegotiate maybe the agent commission, the cash to seller, whatever, and to make it a good deal for you. That's your job as the buyer, in my opinion, to do that and then present that to the wholesaler. And that's really important, is understanding, like, mastering deal analysis. So when someone sends you a straight sub-2 deal versus a straight seller finance deal versus a hybrid deal versus something that could potentially, like, they need a high down payment, so maybe a Morby method works, you need to understand what are the different ways. Maybe they present to you a very high entry seller finance deal. Well, if you're a master at analyzing deals, now you're going to say, well, they need a high entry, but they're willing to carry a large amount. What if I restructure this as a Morby method? Would they be open to that? Or if it's a seller finance deal and they want 5.5% interest rate, they want a $500,000 purchase price and 10% down, 50K down. Well, maybe you tell them, hey, I understand these are the things that you want. I need to make this make sense for me. The only way I can do that is increase the cash flow or decrease the entry cost to increase my cash on cash return, right? We can do that a variety of ways. I understand for you, the most important thing is this purchase price and you need $50,000 for your next step. So what we can do then is either adjust the interest rate, and I can even compensate you for it by increasing the purchase price. That's how I'm able to buy so many deals at 0%, like 0 to 3% interest rates, because it's a give and take, right? The seller is the one ultimately who's the decider if he's selling or not. People will go against their best interest sometimes if they don't like you or don't want to work with you. They would rather lose the house to foreclosure and bankruptcy and rather than sell it to someone they don't feel comfortable with. But if you are working with people to truly structure win-win scenarios, find their bunnies and focus on that, the purchase price, the down payment, whatever, most people will understand that you're an investor. You are buying this deal for a reason. You need to make financial sense for you. You're going to give and then you're going to take certain things. For me, I like to give up things that are more equity focused or even, I don't really like to give on the down payment if I don't have to. Like, I don't want to increase that drastically. I don't mind giving on the purchase price to then structure lower down payments or, like when we acquire a bunch of furnishing from someone, that's very helpful, really minimizes our entry costs, or really reducing interest rate. Because if you reduce interest rate, it's like a double benefit. First, you're increasing your cash flow, but you're also increasing your debt pay down. So you're winning from both ends. The deals that I have 0% seller finance are like insane. That someone is, well, I don't even want to get into detail, but it is insane. Reducing interest rate is one of the best things you can do because it'll make a deal work much better than otherwise. Because like I said, the monthly payment is going down, so your cash flow is going up. And then secondarily, because the interest rate is lower, you're wasting less money on interest. And I'm cool. I'll pay 6-7% interest if it makes sense for the deal. But the lower that percentage is, the more each and every monthly payment that your tenant is making on your behalf is going to paying down your debt. It's literally insane. That's what I focus on. I don't try to over focus on purchase price and all that. I'm not buying properties, 100K, even 50K, 25K. I'm not trying to buy them way higher than they're worth, right? I'm not trying to overpay and then takes 10 years to just break even on the equity side, but I will give up 10K, 20K. I mean, I guess it depends on the property value, right? How much it's worth. I'll give up some on that end to then make a ton more money in cash flow and then understand that. And if I look at this over 5-10 year horizon, I'm out like way ahead than I would have if I just stuck with the original deal or if I was never able to do that deal alone. So because it's all dependent on the seller, if they actually sell to you or not, structuring those win-win scenarios and being transparent about that is very helpful. And the way that I do that with wholesalers when they bring me deals is I ask them I say, hey, this is the terms I need to get to buy this deal. It's really just based on my numbers. I know it may not work for you. If you can sell it otherwise to someone else. But if you can, I'll be the buyer. If you don't feel comfortable having that conversation with the seller agent, I'll come in. I'll do that. Like, let's do that together. I'm happy to, and you could learn from the process and I'm still going to pay you. So that's really important. Buying it, negotiating it, sometimes connecting it. Maybe it's a property that's no cash flow, but people that, they really need tax write-offs and it's a perfect time of the year and they really don't care about getting a 12% cash on cash return, or they're using their own money. So they don't need as high of a return as I would using other people's money. So then maybe just connecting that to a different end buyer, making a little bit of money there, especially for helping them with analyzing the deal. Or what happens more often than not, maybe 90% of the time, is moving on from that. That's not a good deal. It's not worth my time. I'm not going to chase this, just move on. When you're wholesaling and when you're buying, the majority of properties that come here, or if you're buying traditionally and you're buying properties on market, the majority of properties out there are not good investments. Your job is to quickly filter those out and then focus on the ones that are good. Because I think I see some people trying to force bad deals to work all the time, unfortunately, when it's like, when you find, and especially if you own a few really great deals, you can easily differentiate. It's like talking to a seller and it's, talking to someone trying to convince them to sell to you, as opposed to someone who's like very eager and motivated to sell. It's a whole different ball game. I try not to focus too much on convincing people to sell to me, or like, it's like, hey, we are working together to get this deal done for all of us involved. That's what I try to do. I'm not trying to force anything. I don't need abundance, right? I don't need that property. I don't need that one deal to work. I'll move on to the other opportunities I have available. So that's huge. So as I mentioned, lead gen for me primarily comes from wholesalers. I'm getting their deals and I'm either buying them, negotiating them, connecting them to others, or just moving on. I also JV with people because I master deal analysis. I can structure great deals. I understand all different ways to buy, negotiate, and then also manage our properties. So people come to me and they say, hey, I have a seller. He's motivated. I just don't know how to put this, I don't know how to put it under contract. I don't know how to structure the terms. I don't know, whatever. We do that. And then we also do our own deals. I call it like sniper wholesaling. I'll find a few properties in a certain market, especially like San Diego, where it's more expensive and there's not as many, good creative wholesalers. I will target specific properties in a specific market for me, but that's like less than 5% of our overall investments, 90-ish%. And I'm just making numbers up. I should look at the actual KPIs, but the majority are coming from wholesalers and then JV and then own deals. I know that sequence is correct. And then, so how do you generate those leads, right? If you only have two inputs to your buy and hold business, right? You have a lot of processes and outputs, whatever, but the two inputs are deals and capital. How do you generate those? You're connecting with people. You're sharing. It's no different than what you anticipate. Being consistent and connecting with people, letting people know what you're doing, what you're looking for, connecting with wholesalers, getting on every buyer's list. But that's only one part, right? Then you have to actually analyze. That's the process. You have to analyze those deals and see if they make sense for you or not. But doing that and analyze, connecting with people, getting leads sent your way, and underwriting those and determining if it's one you want to buy or not. That's really the big thing you have to do to get more deals in your business. I wish it was more complicated than that so people can have more excuses or whatever, but like that's it. You got to invest the time and energy into that. Get leads sent your way, identify the good investment opportunities, and then either buy them, negotiate them, connect them to someone else who it might make sense for, or just move on from them. That's it. You just do that over and over again. If it's a great opportunity, you put it under contract, do your due diligence, close on it, and manage it effectively. Like I said, two inputs to your business: deals or leads, right? But just think of them as investment opportunities and capital. How do you raise capital? The way I raise capital, I mean, here's all the different ways I guess I could say raise capital. I raise capital or I leverage debt to buy real estate, right? Raising capital is just leveraging debt to buy real estate. The first way I did it was using a VA loan, 0% down, owner occupied loan to buy my duplex. And then I did a 4-unit FHA loan that right? That's still leveraging. That's not raising capital, but it's leveraging debt to buy real estate. Just giving you the overly simplistic explanation. We'll get into what I'm doing now. I've raised capital through sellers, right? I did a Morby method on 20 rental cabins. I got paid a couple $1,000s to then generate $3,500 a month in cash flow on this property because I understood what I was doing. And I was able to structure a great investment opportunity that way. And the seller himself was the one I was leveraging. Him plus the lender together was the way I was able to buy real estate using none of my own money in that transaction, get paid to then generate massive, amounts of cash flow and wealth. But the way that I'm doing it now primarily is I'm finding great investment opportunities, whether it's traditional, like a DSCR loan or creative financing primarily. And then I am raising the entry cost to buy that property, to acquire it, to renovate it or furnish it, and then to put some reserves aside. And I'm doing that through private money lenders and private money partners. And private money lenders and private money partners are everyone in this room. I'm a private money lender. I'm a private money partner. I'm assuming a lot of you are private money lenders and private money partners. If 50 people in here, you'd assume at least 10 of you have money that you want to deploy into investments. So it's networking. You got to connect with people. It's the same thing. Connect with people, let them know what you're doing, what have you been doing. The people that are my lenders and partners now, yes, a lot of them are seeing me maybe more recently and seeing kind of what I'm doing because I haven't been very vocal about my investing journey as much as I should have been over the last several years. But there have been several who have been my private money partners and lenders that have seen me consistently work for 6 years in this field and seen me consistently add value to people and do all that. So networking people, sharing what you're doing. Like if I could go back, I would have shared my entire journey. There's people who are crushing it on social media, hundreds of thousands of followers on their first or second investment because they're sharing their journey. I really, really, really wish that I did that. But just sharing what you're doing, letting people know what you're doing and what you're looking to do, that the way that you buy deals is very important. Maybe you don't even have a deal yet, but you're a wholesaler, whatever your experience was, sharing what you're doing and what you're looking to get done and then how you guys can work together is literally it. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time going into like all of my systems and, this is what it is. People see what I'm doing. They fill out a form and they present a few pieces of information, how much money they have, how quickly are they looking to lend. And then we schedule a call, we touch base and see, okay, are they more of a private money lender, a private money partner? Are they open to both? I like to know why people are interested in working with me. Some of it's, I'm a veteran, I'm an engineer, I've got a big portfolio, whatever. There's a variety of reasons. I don't assume anymore why someone wants to work with me. Obviously, I know the more experience you have, the easier it is to raise money, but you got to start somewhere. And so it's networking and sharing what you're doing. And then, yeah, I mean, that's literally it. So it's like, I have a form, they fill it out, goes into my CRM, gives them an opportunity to schedule a call with me. We schedule a call, connect, build a relationship. Maybe it's not that first call, maybe it's a call or two. They keep up to me on, social media, Facebook, I guess social media. And then when I have investment opportunities, I master the art of underwriting. I know what the investment returns look like. I know how much capital I need to raise and where it's going to go. I put that all in a marketing pitch deck, no more than 10 slides. And then I just email that out to everyone that said they want to invest with me. Maybe some of them changed their minds. Maybe some of them, already invested money out, but that's literally it. That's the process. I'm not going to get into the details of like transaction coordination and, joint venture agreements, promissory notes and all that. It's a whole different call. But for this one, it's really focused on the two inputs: investment opportunities, capital partners. Kind of the same thing: consistent network, master deal analysis, especially the way that you're buying deals. Like maybe the way one of you is underwriting is different than the way I am. Maybe you're focused on fix and flipping and I'm just buy and hold, or I'm working in these markets or I have these management strategies. You have to know what is really important to you. In my opinion, the more that you can underwrite and analyze, the better, because you just have more tools in your tool belt to solve more problems. And you can, let's say you have a fix and flip that's going wrong. And I've had this, a fix and flip going wrong, but I also underwrote initially as a rental property. So I knew it was going to be a great cash cow if I decided to keep it. And the property did not work out well. I mean, it did work out well, but the project took a little longer. As you know, the budget went a little higher, and I wasn't going to be able to sell it and make the returns that I wanted to, especially because I raised money for it. So I wanted to make sure everyone got the returns they needed. But then I just refinanced that lender with a different lender that wanted to be part of a buy and hold. So that private money lender brought in a private money partner, refinance that property to cash or refinance. Some of the money had to be left in the deal, but now that partner is an owner with us and they're getting solid cash flow returns. But if all I understood was fixing and flipping, I would have been screwed. I would have had to pay, even if it's $0, but like 0, 10, 20K to then sell this property to someone else, or hold, or, sit on a property that makes sense, or get screwed with a hard money loan. But instead what I did was I underwrote initially that this would be a great rental. So in my back pocket, I knew, yes, I'm gonna have to leave some equity or leave some money in the deal, but it was going to be a great return for a different type of lender. Maybe not the original lender. It's going to be a great return and great investment opportunity for the other lender. So just having more tools in your tool belt is always valuable. Maybe someone presents, like I said, they present you a seller finance deal with a large down payment, but you know about the Morby method, you know about a seller carryback that you can do in conjunction with a traditional loan. You combine those two and then make an investment opportunity out of something that did not make a lot of financial sense for most people. That's what I did for my 20 rental cabins. It was a 400K. He wanted the loan paid off, 400K, and then he needed 150K for himself. So I wasn't going to be able to make that work. It was great. He was able to seller finance me 250K, but I couldn't have made that work without understanding that either we could have tried to Subto the commercial loan, which would have not helped me with his 150K that I needed, but then bring in the commercial loan in conjunction with him willing to seller finance 250K. I was able to buy this property, no money down, make money, and then generate a bunch of cash flow for 3+ years now. So that's what I'll say there. And yes, before everyone starts asking, I know it's harder when you're starting out. I had to start out. The first deal that I raised capital on was those 20 rental cabins. I needed transactional funding of $130,000 within 30 days. I had to do that through 13 different sources at the time. I had 2 private money lenders, 2 people in the military who saw what I was doing, heard about the stuff that I was doing, knew I was saving a bunch of money, putting it in the stock market, things like that. They knew I was investing. I was financially smart. So when I said, hey, I need like 10 to 20K from each of you guys, if you have it, I'll give you solid returns. I just need it for 30 days. They were very open to it because they knew what I was doing. And then on top of that, I took out 0% credit card debt, the 0% credit card debt. I took out loans against my stocks, loans against my crypto, sold some stocks, sold some crypto, whatever, just a variety of different things, like 13 different sources to generate the 130K for 30 days to then pay everyone, close on the property. Seller got paid, and then he wired his funds back to me, the 250K or the portion of the 250K that he wired back to me. So then I was able to pay everyone back. So in the beginning, it's a lot harder, right? It's obvious because you have less experience. The less proven you are, the harder it's going to be to raise capital. So you might have to, here's some pro tips. You might have to give up more. Now the way we're raising capital from our private money lenders consistently for buy and holds, 12% interest rate. Once we refinance it after a year of ownership, it'll be 8 to 10% because it's a more stable asset at that point. Very different lender. We have private money partnerships, and our private money partners get at least the 7% cash on cash return, and then 15+% total ROI. It's different for maybe someone else. Even Bo said, no, there's no way you're raising capital that way. It's like, yes, because we're a more stable investment than maybe someone who's newer. So we're able to get there now. But early on, we had to do 50-50 splits. We had to, split the property in total investment 50-50 with our partners. And, now we can do maybe 20-30% ownership split because we're doing 2/3 of the role. We're adding so much value as the operator and our experience as the operator. So that's it. Like, understand you might have to give up more in the beginning, but you're not gonna have to give up more forever. It's just early on, if you need to build that experience, you might have to give up more. Next, a really good one is to joint venture with people when you're starting out who already have experience in that market doing that deal. Does it suck that you're gonna have to give up ownership or whatever on a deal that you found and underwrote and you have the perfect strategy for just so you can raise capital? Yeah, it might suck. I mean, think of it the other way, but now you get another investment opportunity. You own that property, you're generating more cash flow, you're generating more wealth. Now you're building your experience. So then the next time, maybe you give up less and you give up less and you give up less, right? So just understand that what you're doing in the beginning is not what you have to do forever. And the returns that you're offering early on may not be what you have to offer on forever with your next investments. So joint venturing, bringing on someone with experience to then add to your credibility to manage that asset. And we do that with people. And then maybe even early on, you have to invest some of your own capital. Maybe it's a 50K entry, and you're going to put in 10K of your own and you're going to raise 40K, right? Isn't that still better? Well, it is better. I'll tell you right now, it's much better than you doing the 50K yourself, much higher returns. And whether it's a private money lender, private money partners, I mean, much higher returns. And if you really think about that, like, the analogy of like splitting the watermelon or just eating the grape alone, actually, it's actually not even that. It's like you're splitting a watermelon, with your friends that you want to work with, or you don't get a watermelon at all. Because if you don't have the money, you're not buying the deal. And if you require the experience, a proven operator to then come in and work with you, so a capital partner will lend to you, you're still buying that deal as opposed to not doing anything. Like, if that's what you need to do, then that's what you need to do. It's a supply and demand game. And if your lenders are saying, hey, I want to lend, but I think I need you to be more proven in this strategy or in this market, you're trying to do something that I don't think you have experience in yet, but I know you'll get there. So I want to work with you, but I need you to bring something more proven. That's a way to do it. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. If they say you don't need to do it, well, then that's fine. You don't need to do that. But, it's a supply and demand game. And that's where it really helps talking to people, right? As I mentioned, my simple, I got a CRM for it, very simple. You can reach out to me later about that. But it's like form, calendar invite, call, send deals to them, right? But it's understanding, why do they want to work with me? Why do they feel really comfortable? And why should we work together? Especially if you're using a private money partner where you're splitting ownership and you're holding the property for 5+ years together. You don't want to, it's one thing to like raise private money loans from someone that maybe you don't want to work with for the long term, but that, you need the money at that point for the deal and you're going to just pay them interest. It's more of a silent partnership. But if it's a private money partner where you're going to own together, and real estate is a little volatile at times, sometimes you have to inject more money, or sometimes the returns aren't exactly what you anticipated for a month or two, or the project takes longer or whatever, you really, really, like, the private money lender is going to get paid either way. Otherwise, they're going to take your asset from you. Private money partner, you guys are partnering together. You want to make sure you're of the same mindset. For example, a lot of my private money partners are more financially secure. They're more financially stable. They're not using the last of their money. They're looking at all the ownership benefits, not just the cash on cash return. Otherwise, they would just be a private money lender instead of a private money partner. They have a longer time horizon. They have some experience usually, and they understand that we're owning this thing for a long time. Things come up, every once in a while. Just understanding like the longer time horizon, it makes your life a lot easier. And I don't say that through personal experience, because I haven't had any real issues with lenders or partners, simply because we just perform. I mean, that's really what it is. If you're performing, you're not going to have a lot of problems with your lenders and partners. But I've heard of dozens of people tell me about bad private money partnership relationships, and how it's just derailing their business. And that is not only annoying, I guess, for everyone involved, but it's time and energy you're wasting towards something that's not adding value to your business, where you could be using that time and energy doing more, finding more investment opportunities, raising more capital. All right. So with that being said, I'm just really quickly highlight, right? My three pillars of, fundamental pillars for financial freedom and wealth through real estate are mastering deal analysis, becoming a master of analyzing deals, systematizing your business into repeatable actions, that blueprint, and then actually consistently taking those actions, right? You got to do that. And then having a community and network to rely on, especially because you're going to be building your own while being part of these. I was only able to raise as much capital and grow the way that I have through mentorships, through connecting with people, through sharing my journey with other investors. I never, like I said, I was very muted on social media because it was like family and friends. But when I was in these real estate investment groups, I knew we were all trying to achieve the same goal. No one was going to call me a leech or crazy or this or that for wanting to be a landlord or real estate investor. So I was much more comfortable having those conversations. In-person meetups, local RIAs, we have all these Subto free in the paid Subto group, community events, going to conferences, masterminds, all that stuff. And then online, I mean, that's really the cheat code, like online networking. It's not as relational, but I've been able to make hundreds, if not 1,000 amazing connections through people online. And then even starting to add value to people in these communities. Like I said, I really focus on deal analysis. So adding that value to others really, really, I don't know. People just love people that, it's never something that I thought about. Like, oh, I'm going to get really good at analyzing deals, and I'm going to show other people how to analyze deals. And then I know they're going to give me money in the future. No, that was never the goal. The goal was just to exchange this value, information that I wish I had earlier that I could provide to someone else, because I know I'm one step ahead of someone else. And doing that has paid massive dividends, especially looking back in hindsight. I guess in hindsight. So there's that. I knew my financial freedom was the goal, and like time freedom, as opposed to just focusing on creating a 20 properties a year fix and flip business. That's great, but I realized if I just wanted to buy real estate to achieve, semi-passive, financial freedom, I could just expedite that. And that's why I stopped wholesaling, stop fixing and flipping. I mean, we do a few fix and flips just because it makes sense to, but primarily stop wholesaling, stop fixing and flipping, and even left my job because there's just more simple ways to buy real estate, especially as you prove yourself as an operator. I'm not telling you to go quit your damn job. Keep your job. I kept my job until I was like, I have 4 levels of financial freedom. One is you cover all your needs with passive income, then your needs and your wants, and then your needs and your wants times 2, right? And that's where I was at before I quit my job. I was making twice as much as I was spending in any given month before I felt comfortable leaving a job. That's like who I am as a conservative investor. That's what I recommend you to do as well, is maybe not 2x. I'm just more conservative than most people. I already had 50 plus rentals when I did it. I just left a little over a month and a half ago. You can get there sooner, but don't, in my opinion, don't count your eggs before they hatch. Don't think it's going to happen for the first time and you haven't been able to prove it yet. Get that proof of concept, a lot of it, and then pull the plug on a job, because you don't want to jeopardize. Maybe if you're younger and no dependents, maybe that's one thing, but and I'm younger, but with a wife, a child, I didn't want to take any risks. And I knew I was going to have a family. So keep your job, but understand there's other ways to buy real estate, not just using your own money. There's a more expedited way. And then for a buy and hold business using other people's money, there's only 2 inputs: investment opportunities and capital. And we talked about the different strategies for both of those. I don't know how Pace does this. It's so hard to look at these comments and answer in real time. Oh, Barb is a PMLC. There you go. There's a PML right there. I'm a private money lender and private money partner. How do I raise capital? Who, not how. There you go, Catherine. She says, exactly. You don't even need to raise your own capital. So, you can connect with Catherine's a connector, right? And I intentionally connect too. And that's one of the things that I'm doing. Our goal was to buy 3 to 5 properties a month. We decided to slow that down because I don't want to scale my team to the point where they need to handle 3 to 5 properties simultaneously every month, underwriting and analyzing them, and then raising the capital for them, and then all the due diligence, and then renovating it, and then furnishing it, and then renting it out, and then investor relations. Like, that's a lot to do when you're adding multiple every single month. I'm of the mindset that I'd much rather buy less but take care of everyone involved in that deal. Because just because you buy real estate, as we've learned, it doesn't mean you're going to like we've seen this a lot in a lot of other community or a lot of communities, right? People are buying a lot of investments, but it does not mean they are performing. It doesn't matter if you close on an investment, if you find it, raise the money, if you cannot operate it and manage it successfully and get solid returns, it doesn't make a difference. You're not getting any closer to financial freedom. If anything, you're destroying your reputation, you're destroying someone's life, you're destroying other people's lives, you're wasting other people's money, all the time and effort that went to put in, getting that money. So I would much rather consistently grow a portfolio than try to force myself to buy more than is necessary. So what we're doing now is if we have investment opportunities that we don't want to buy, we've already analyzed, we'll help connect that to other people. If we've raised more money than we need at that time, I will help connect that to other people. And Catherine's a connector in here who said, just call Catherine. She will connect it. She dropped her form and everything. We see lenders in here. Very, very motivated seller for seller financing, help analyzing the deal and underwriting it. How can I schedule a meeting with you? So I do this once a week. I do actually this exact time. I go over deal analysis and all that. I'll just connect you to someone else, primarily just like, hey, go to the, you can go into my wealth, the real estate community, go in Subto, you go wherever and say, hey, I'm looking to JV on this deal, seller finance deal. But if you do want to send me your deal, it is, and I can help with that. Michael at coasttocoastvets.com. Just drop that in there on your message. All right, Shyla. Catch up with you. Okay. Oh, there's one of my lenders right there. Actually, he just dropped almost $250,000 within 3 days for 3 investment opportunities with us. Like, that's how it scales too. You end up finding people who are also in a different financial place and they want to, they're ready to deploy their capital once they really understand who you are and what you do. All right, let's see. I think Catherine stole my chat. Just kidding. Trying to filter through everything. Long-term PML. And Liz, so you say you're looking for a long-term PML for a property in Memphis, Tennessee. That's great. Or here's another pro tip for private money lenders. Most private money lenders don't want to lend for over a year. They don't want to lend for over 12 months, and that's even pushing for a lot of them. A strategy, when that balloon comes and you have to pay your private money lender back, you can either pay that back from the cash flow from the property, which is not likely on long-term buy and holds. There just isn't enough cash flow typically to pay a private money lender back from the cash flow generated. You can't, especially if you're paying them, 12% interest on that money, they're eating up most of the cash flow anyway. Especially let's $100K entry, right? At 12%, it's $12,000 of interest a year or $1,000 a month. The best deals are making $1,500 to $2,000. On the higher end, I think that's the average for pad splits, like 1,700 or whatever. So if you're giving a lot of that to your private money lenders, then it's kind of tough. You're not gonna be able to pay the principal back that way. You can pay them back from other sources. You can refinance the loan, the whole loan, and pay them back that way. Which a lot of times when you're buying creative deals, you're buying them near market value, so there's not gonna be enough equity to do so. What we do more often than not is we refinance the private money lender with a different private money lender. As I mentioned, that's how we're able to get private money lenders at 8 to 10%, but they want that for 3 to 5 years on an already stabilized asset because that first year is the highest risk. You're trying to prove this concept. You underwrote it on paper on a spreadsheet, and then you're saying, I know I'll get this. Well, that's a lot of risk that first year. That next year, you're like, hey, I've just paid this person back, $1,000 a month. It's going to be even easier for me to pay you back $800, much more stable. You can even pay down some of the principal. And that's what we primarily do is we refinance the private money lender, right? So we're buying deals with 0% down or 0% seller finance or, 2 to 5% Subto loans. I don't want to get rid of those to refinance everyone. I'll just refinance the private money lender with another one. So maybe you don't have a long-term PML, but you have, one for 6 months, 12 months, and you're consistently building that lender list and then refinancing them you're refinancing that PML with another one. Even if it's at the same interest rate for the same principal amount, you just keep kicking the can down the road. Your property continues to cash flow. Your property continues to appreciate. Continue to pay down the debt on that first position loan, right? Because it's interest only for a PML typically. So you're not paying down that debt. You get the tax benefits. You get all these benefits. And maybe you kick the can down the road for the PML until you're in a place where you can pay that off, refinance them, just continue refinancing them for other PMLs. And it's no different than just how you're leveraging debt in the first place with real estate. Well, except that's interest only, not, whatever. The concept holds. Let's see. When I refi, am I doing with the title company? So for a private money lender, yes, because there's a promissory note involved. So yes, we're recording everything. We're doing it all the right way. Yes, there's costs involved with it. yes, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to pay for that. If it's a private money partner and we need to exchange one with another, or we're replacing a PML with a PMP, which we sometimes do, then you don't really need that. You pay off the existing PML, you finish that note, and then you just add them to your operating agreement or you have a joint venture agreement with them. Yep. Oh, good. I'm glad that helped, Roz. Because that's like, I think maybe that's a huge cheat code. Maybe I should talk about that a lot too. Look what Karen's talking about. 2 years, DSCR cash out, second for 30 years, fix and flips. Yeah, Karen's gonna be coming on here soon and talking about all this stuff. All right, any questions? Otherwise, cool, we'll be good. We'll be done at 1 hour. I'll go have lunch, kiss my baby. All right, so if anyone wants to get connected with me, Instagram, please, Michael M. Nat. That's one of the best ways to stay connected. Just direct message me. That's usually the easiest for me to check. I don't know why it's so much easier. And then like email and all that, but I have so much business stuff going on in my emails. I'm not looking for like messages from all these people and it goes to spam and all that. So Instagram, I do have a free community called Wealth Through Real Estate where we just talk about deal analysis and things like that. It's totally free community. You could join that if you'd like to. I'm already part of a lot of real estate investing communities. A lot of you here, Owners Club, Subto, Mastermind and Subto. Like I love our Subto community. Thankful for Pace and everything that he does and the community does. So that's a great way to connect on there. But there's kind of those options. I'd say Instagram right now is kind of the best way because easy for me to just keep track of everyone in my DMs. Face message is fine, but if we're not friends, then it goes to my message request and I don't see you and all that. Cool, y'all. I think I talked so fast and answered everything. No one had a single question, and that's how I'm going to take it. Either you got lost because I talked so fast, or I answered every question you could have thought of. So, all right. Bye, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.